What's up, folks? I got a great show for you today. All right, so we see it happening all around us. We know what's going on. It's go time. And it is the harvest moon tonight. So we all know that events seem to happen around these time periods. Last one was a blood moon. Charlie Kirk got assassinated. You know that's how the cabal works. And so now is the harvest moon. You saw the 𝗬𝗱𝗃 show yesterday. Yesterday evening, and we're all kind of waiting. We're on pins and needles. We know it's go time. We've seen the ominous posts from Trump. We've seen it all, and it does indicate that something big is coming. You've seen General Flynn's post. I did a great show with Alpha and Joshua Reed on this, and everybody is saying the same thing. It's go time. No more scrimmages. No more preliminary fights. It's the main event. It's coming. As we come into mid-October, late October, and into fall, spring. It's going to be pretty bumpy. It's going to be a very bumpy ride, folks, so prepare for this. I have Sheriff Mack today that's going to be joining me to give his insight, America's favorite sheriff, giving his insight on what the hell's going on and what we need to do as a community to demand the best from our sheriffs and police force, because you're already seeing it happen in Portland, Oregon. They're standing down. The police are actually taking the side, you can say, of Antifa and the protesters, standing down, doing nothing. They don't want no part of this. Folks, the way I look at that, they're going to pay a high consequence for those actions. Believe me. And will this lead to Trump at some point signing the Insurrection Act? I think it's likely. I think that's all coming. Stay tuned. Sheriff Mack is coming on in just a second. Hit the notifications button, folks. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, Venmo, 𝗑-Rod1977, 𝗑-Rod1977. If you appreciate me, I appreciate you. As you know, my dad's in the hospital right now, so I'm going back and forth. I'm doing shifts with my sister, and it's my two sisters, Nicole and Tricia, and it's been hell of a ride so far. So when the lights go out on Amazon, please leave an honest review. And the Mexican Mix, my mom's book about my dad, basically. Please leave an honest review on that. And Noble Gold, folks, get your Noble Gold. Gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. The prices keep climbing. More Americans are turning to gold to protect their wealth because it's the safest bet. But how do you take advantage of it? That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in, and this is the company that I trust, no doubt, folks. From rolling over an old 401k into a gold IRA to physical coins and bars delivered to your home, Noble Gold makes it simple, safe, and stress-free. It absolutely does. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. And that's it, NobleGoldInvestments.com, NobleGoldInvestments.com. I'm telling you, you will not be sorry. I sleep at night because of this. X is Nino Boxer. PatriotWear.com, being right there, PatriotWear.com. Take a look around the store. Let me know what you want to see in there. Also, folks, Nino'sCorner.tv. Ringside with Nino is this Wednesday, and that's at 5 p.m. So October the 8th. Is it already going to be October the 8th? Damn. October the 8th. This month, every month is just flying. It feels, when you get older, they say time goes faster. It really does. It feels like a month now is like a week. A day is like an hour, and a week is like a day. It's like a joke. It's like a joke now. So Ringside with Nino, Wednesday the 8th, 5 p.m. Get over there, and we war game together, the whole Black Sheep family. Nino'sCorner.tv. I have Mary Fanning on right now. I have SG Anon on right now. Juan O'Savin's coming on. Sheila Holm is up there right now. Daniel Brinkley's coming on today. The Ghost is up there. And the General's tent for this month will be Sheila Holm and Juan O'Savin together to explain what's happening with this process, this operation. So that's going to be in the General's tent this month. I'm just going to lock down the date, and I'll put it out there on my Telegram, which is Nino's Corner. I'll put it out on X, and it'll all be out there to let you know when the General's tent is this month. Next month, though, I think the 20th, November 20th, Mary Fanning is coming on, bringing on some generals. I think it'll be McInerney and some other generals. So she said that's going to be a huge, huge general's tent, and she is an investigative reporter, and boy, she knows her stuff. And I don't know if you've watched her interview on 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV, but it's fire. And without further ado, folks, here we go. Let's get started. You might want to turn it down or turn it up. I'm going to start the morning crazy, as I always do, folks. All right. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah, baby. Let's go. All right. So, civil chaos, folks. Judge blocks Trump's troop move as cities face rising unrest. And what does this do? This empowers the protesters. This empowers and validates what they're doing so they get stronger with the morale. So tonight is the harvest moon, and I think we can all assume from here that events are going to pick up speed and escalate. I believe the main event is coming. I think we all know that. We all feel it. We see. How many of you are starting to see, I don't know, a lot of indicators pointing to that little country in the Middle East, and we're starting to see Bibi Netanyahu get a little nervous, if you ask me. The shift is happening right now. Consciousness is shifting right now where people are going, you know what? That doesn't make sense anymore. I think the spotlight's kind of on you guys. Think about the mentality it takes to just keep bombing a region over and over and over and over and killing all those lives, women and children. And yet, business as usual. Think about this. A lot of indicators, and that's all I'm going to say on that. And it's about to get good. It's about to get good because a lot of people's, a lot of people are pointing to that little country, and a lot of people are pointing to Antifa, and a lot of this stuff is coming to light. It's getting exposed, and that's a good thing. But that means they're going to make some big moves, really desperate big moves. So I hope you are all getting stocked up with necessities, especially those in the Democratic hellholes like, Portland, Chicago. I hope you're stocking up on food, water, necessities you might need just in case, for insurance, shit hits the fan. So we know Trump will start making bigger moves now, more grandioso type moves now that the government is shut down. We have Trump moving troops to Portland, Memphis, and Chicago as the corrupt governors, mayors, and judges expose themselves more and more. They just keep defying Trump and they're all saying the same thing. We got to protect our freedoms. No. You liked the fentanyl on the street. You liked people shooting up on the corners. You liked the tent cities. You liked scarcity. You liked all that. You loved the crime. Hamas, the Chinese, the illegal immigrants. Sorry, folks, it's over. The game is over, and the cure has to be greater than the disease. The cure has to be greater than the disease, and it's go time. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen the post from Trump indicating that we are here now. So, but the irregular warfare will hit all of America, and that's why I have Sheriff Mack on today. He's going to help explain what you should demand from your local sheriffs and police department when this stuff goes down. Each city will be affected one way or another. So what exactly will that look like? What will happen to the cities that don't have all the military there? Now, I don't know what this will look like. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think anybody does. Nobody really knows. But I'm sure Sheriff Mack will help us. And I think you're going to have to demand certain things from your local police if they're not corrupted, and Sheriff's Department if they're not corrupted. It's going to be a pretty messy time, folks, in my opinion. So I will be bringing Sheriff Mack on in just a moment to help my audience understand what to expect and what to do. Trump authorizes National Guard in Chicago as judge temporarily blocks his plan to deploy federal troops in Portland. The ongoing battle between Trump administration and the Democrat-led cities intensified this last weekend, with the White House announcing authorization for hundreds of National Guard members to be sent to Chicago, and a federal judge in Oregon hitting the pause button on the president's plan to deploy federal troops in Portland. And this is where you're going to see Gavin Newsom take his final last stand. And that's what I'm going to call it. Gavin Newsom's final last stand. It will not end well for him. It will not. Let me repeat that. This will not end well for any of them that are these social justice warriors. They think they're going to stand on their soapbox and be brave. It's over for them. It's all escalating. It is over. Game over for them. Let them play this out to their demise. So those developments came against a backdrop of continuing protests in Chicago and Portland against federal law enforcement carrying out President Donald Trump's sweeping immigration enforcement agenda. Trump and his administration have framed demonstrations in the two cities as violent protests carried out by domestic terrorists. That's why he's labeled Antifa a domestic terrorist group. That's why he's put in ban on no cash bail, burning the flag. He's prepping. He's getting ready for what's coming. And he's putting stop guards on all this stuff. So this is going to get really, really interesting. Tensions spiked in Chicago on Saturday when a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent stepped out of his vehicle and shot 5 times at a woman in another vehicle, according to a charging complaint. The woman, a U.S. citizen, according to the Department of Homeland Security, had rammed her car into the federal law enforcement vehicle. Well, gee whiz. They tell you that last. The complaint claims DHS said the woman is in FBI custody after being discharged from the hospital, and she had another person. Her and another person are now facing federal criminal charges in connection with the incident. What do you expect him to do? You ram your vehicle into his vehicle? Are you kidding me? Oh, but you're the victim, right? You're the victim. Yeah. Okay, I get it now. Federal judge temporarily blocks Trump's attempt to deploy Oregon National Guard to Portland. A federal judge has temporarily blocked President Donald Trump's attempt to federalize and deploy the Oregon National Guard to Portland. U.S. District Judge 𝗬𝗗𝗏, what a name, issued a temporarily restraining order late on Saturday, barring the deployment of the troops for at least 14 days. Says Trump's basis to federalize the National Guard fell short of high bar required to justify deployment without the approval of the state's governor. While there have been protests in Portland, the judge said in her decision they are significantly violent or they are not significantly violent or disruptive to justify the deployment. There are people in their condos, in their apartments, in their houses trying to call the cops to come and stop this noise, the rambunctious behavior, the yelling, the screaming, the banging on trash cans, walking around the streets protesting. They don't want to live like this. And the police are doing nothing. Nothing. Trump officials discussed sending elite Army division to Portland. Text message show Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth considered sending an elite U.S. Army strike force to Portland, Oregon to quell the protest that President Donald Trump has characterized as lawless mayhem, according to images of messages provided to the Minnesota State or Star Tribune. The messages casually exchanged last weekend in a crowded public space show high-level officials in the Trump administration discussing the deployment of the Army's 82nd Airborne and Infantry Division that has been deployed to combat zones in both world wars, Vietnam and Afghanistan. If the administration were to send in the Army Division, it would almost certainly be challenged in court under federal laws limiting how the military can be used domestically. I've said this many, many times before. 5 years ago, obviously, we're going to be facing lawfare after lawfare after lawfare after lawfare until he finally signs the Insurrection Act. And I think that's coming. I'm going to bring on Sheriff Richard Mack right now. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining me. I know you're a busy man, but you know what's going on in the country. We've had many podcasts together on this subject, and no better man to talk to than the sheriff himself. Thank you for joining me.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for having me, and my best to your father.
Thank you.
I know how that is as a family. I went through the same thing with my father, but we're still trying, you and I and many, many others, trying to save America, and that's all President Trump is doing. And the question is, does he have the authority to do it? And yes, he does.
Okay.
Folks.
But they're going to try to stop him at every turn, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. But first of all, you know that my calling card issue is I won a case at the United States Supreme Court back in 1997 when I was sheriff of Graham County, Arizona. I became the first sheriff in American history to launch a major lawsuit against the federal government. That was the Clinton administration. I beat them. 6 other sheriffs joined me in the case, and I totally give them credit for helping with this. It was amazing. Sheriff Prince, very good friend of mine. Sheriff Prince and I ended up at the Supreme Court in December of 1996. And a lot of this had to do with federalism, the division of powers between the states and the federal government. And this is the key issue here. We might as well bring that quote up from my Supreme Court case. There it is. Okay, folks, you need to read this very carefully. This is powerful stuff that totally supports President Trump in what he's doing. Hence, a double security arises to the rights of the people. The different governments, and that, in fact, he explains why that does double security, how that double security arises to the rights of the people. Because, quoting again, the different governments will control each other at the same time that each will be controlled by itself. Well, when Los Angeles and California refuse to control themselves, refuse to enforce the law, and refuse to go along with the rule of law, and refuse to do what? Protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When they refuse to do that, and the chief of police goes along with the mayor, and they're doing the same thing in County, Illinois, the greater Chicago area. They're doing the same thing in Multnomah County. And the sheriff there, Sheriff O'Donnell, and Sheriff Dart in Chicago, and Sheriff Luna in Los Angeles. Those cities are inside your county, and you know it. Why are you not going to the chief of police and the mayor and saying, if you guys will not do your job and control the city limits, that is our agreement, I will take charge and I will do it. And if I don't have enough resources, I will call President Trump and ask him for help.
So they can
but
do
those
that.
Sheriffs aren't doing anything.
No,
they're
sheriffs
standing back, and they look very cowardly. So something needs to give there. And
so let me ask you this, Sheriff. Let me ask you this. Not long ago, I think it was either last year or in 2023, the sheriffs met with the FBI that was under Biden at the time to, it looked like, to be federalized, and they were given a briefing or a speech on events to come, terrorist attacks to come, and how to respond to it. Almost like they were being prepped to follow the agenda, let's say, and the agenda of the Biden administration. So here we are now with things starting to get pretty hot. It's starting to boil over a little bit. A lot of people expect this to hit most cities. How bad do you expect this to be? Did you attend that meeting by any chance, or did you refuse to go?
No, I didn't go.
Okay, so but you know about it, correct?
Yes.
What can we expect here? What do we need to do as citizens to prepare for this and to demand from our sheriffs and our public officials and our police department? Because the police department, you can already see it by the way it's behaving in Portland, Oregon. They're already just they're sitting back. They're letting the riots continue. I mean, they're allowing this mayhem because the governors and the mayors are telling them to stand down.
They are telling them to stand down, and that's really a sad day in the field of law enforcement in this country, when fellow law enforcement officers will not have the back of federal law enforcement officers. That's absolutely unheard of. The thin blue line just got blown up in Chicago and Los Angeles and Portland. And look, too many of these officers, this is the biggest problem, that these officers are Nuremberg officers. They'll just follow orders from mayors and governors. That is absolutely, what are you thinking? You should stand up and do your job, the mayor and governor notwithstanding. You should stand for your oath of office, and you should stand with your fellow brothers and sisters in law enforcement and make sure they're safe and not allow any of them to be harmed or killed. This is getting way out of hand, and officers need to be going to their chief, and sheriffs need to be going to the chief and mayor. And if you're not going to take care of the people, we will disobey your unconstitutional orders.
But they're still citizens, right? I mean, when they take the badge off, I mean, they're still products of the mainstream media, of the social engineering that has happened. So deep down, a lot of them may despise Trump. So they're more than happy to take orders from the mayor and the governor. And what I'm saying is, with that kind of climate, that's a civil war type of climate.
It very much is. And I think the Democrats have been pushing for that. And it's now here, and they're in the middle of it, and they're causing it. And the leadership in the Democrat Party just isn't there. And first of all, let's make sure that these people, these Democrats, know that we are not a democracy. A democracy is where you get to do anything you want as long as you have the majority on your side. That's a dictatorship. We are a republic. And this whole thing about, Carl Reiner Jr. just came out and said, oh, wow, we're losing our democracy. We're not supposed to be a democracy, if you would know that. But
Kamala Harris, they've all said that this is a democracy, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They don't even know what form of government we have. So no wonder they're out in left field. Excuse the pun. But this is so dangerous for what's going on. And President Trump is exercising his authority to make sure that the people are safe and that life, liberty, and property are being protected, because the Democrats won't do it because they're suffering from Trump derangement syndrome too much. This is absolutely crazy. Now let's remember historically, 1962, JFK sent troops into Alabama, in Montgomery, Alabama. Why? To make sure that the black students were allowed into University of Alabama. It was peaceful, but he made sure that these people were protected in their right to go to the college where they want to. He stopped segregation, JFK did, and he did the right thing. Trump is trying to save lives and protect the communities here, and he's one of the different governments that has to now fill in the gap because of what the Democrats have done in these three major cities in America, and people are wanting President Trump to come in and restore order.
So we've gamed this out on Nino'sCorner.tv many times. I've had a lot of guests on there, and we are now at the phase where we see, okay, nothing's working for the Democrats. So now they're pulling the ripcord. It's time to abort mission. Chaos. Here we go. Chaos is the next big move, which is panic moves, which would be, I don't know, events to take place on our soil, cells activated, the globalist agenda to take America by force, which I believe is happening right now. So do you agree with that? Do you think now it's time for the move of chaos? Because obviously they can't win the elections. They can't win in any proper way. And we know how they were winning. Yeah. But yeah, we know what they were doing. But now that's kind of off the table. They know that we're coming into the 2026. Trump is expected to sign an executive order for in-person paper ballots only. All these things are getting ready to come. And I think now is the time for the big play, which is, the showdown, especially with the government being shut down right now. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think now it's time for chaos? Do you think that's the move they're making?
They're certainly headed that way. I mean, the writing is definitely on the wall. And they are saying, as you alluded to in your opening, they want to keep the international terrorists in their communities. They want the human traffickers and the sexual exploitation. They want to keep the fentanyl moving in. They want all these horrors to stay in their communities at the expense of what? Well, they're not going to give in to Trump because they hate Trump, and they're not doing anything to cooperate with him, even if it means the safety of the people in their communities. And that's how stupid these people are. This is how deranged they are. So chaos, of course, it's the next thing on their list. But what else can they turn to?
Well, there's millions
and the judge is wrong too. She can't tell Trump what to do. The judge is totally wrong. How do you fight
a system that's against you? The judges are against you. The millions of immigrants that are here, they're not self-deporting. Okay, maybe some have. Maybe some have,
but it's very
a small portion. But I'm telling you, they're not. And especially here in El Paso, they're laughing at Trump. I'm telling you that right now. But they are. And so what I'm trying to get at here is, so let's say, here we are now where there's millions upon millions of unvetted immigrants that will be activated, and I think they're going to be activated at the right time. We know that they're doing the midday raids in Chicago. They're in there doing raids in certain. I've seen them doing raids here in El Paso, but it's not enough. It's a small dent to the millions of people that Biden let in. What do you expect to happen? What do you expect these immigrants to do? Do you believe they are going to be activated?
Well, look, yeah, I've been to the training, and there's over 100,000 terrorists that entered the country during the Biden administration.
Wow.
It was completely up. You have to know they were going to come in. Of course they wanted to come in because they wanted to take over America from within. They want to destroy America from within. And they're here. And their sleeper cells are here, and they're coalescing with the cartels. So, folks, we have allowed that. We allowed the Democrats to do all this. The Democrats were in charge, and they did it. And we didn't stand up to it, and we didn't stop it. And maybe we didn't have the authority, but we do now. And folks, you better get your sheriffs moving. And if your sheriffs won't do anything, what's the last resort? Federal government. And President Trump knows that. And he's trying to restore order. And so if these people are fighting, there's going to be some people hurt on this. And yes, chaos is next on the list.
So as chaos ensues, I'm already there. My mind's already there. I'm already
that's
where I'm at right now. I know where this is going. You can see the momentum picking up. I mean, it started in June. That kicked off some of it, but now here we go again in Portland and Chicago. And so as this goes, and as people start to realize, oh, wait a minute, we can't trust our police department. We can't trust our sheriffs. I guess what Trump has to sign. I mean, as this picks up speed, Trump is going to have to sign the Insurrection Act. I mean, how else do you take care of this problem?
I don't think he's going to have much choice in it. And yeah, because especially if the judge does something stupid like she did. Well, let's wait 14 days. Let's let more people be murdered. Let's let more people run over each other with cars. And by the way, running into a car intentionally with your car, that's aggravated felony assault.
Right. And yes. So he shot at her. And what do you want him to do? I mean, he was scared for his life.
Of course.
There's still people at the end of the day. They have families to go home to.
That's right. And they're exposing them out to danger, publishing their address and where their families are.
So, Sheriff,
this has gotten too insane. And it's all Democrat.
Right. So what do we do here? What's your advice for the average citizen? What do they do? Like, what do we do in this situation besides we know to prepare and get necessities?
I want everybody in Los Angeles and Portland and Chicago to call the sheriff's office. Okay? In Los Angeles, it's Los Angeles County Sheriff. In Portland, it's Multnomah, Multnomah, Multnomah County. Portland is in Multnomah County. The sheriff is Nicole O'Donnell. I hope she's not related to Rosie. And so, and then in Chicago, it's Cook County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Dart. So in Los Angeles, it's Sheriff Luna. Don't call the chief of police. Call the sheriff's office and ask them what they're going to do to implement safety procedures to protect, one, the citizens of those counties, and two, the federal agents. And the federal agents have every right to be there to protect federal property and to protect life, liberty, and property. Life, liberty, and property. That is the goal of all government. I just read you from the Supreme Court. The different governments will control each other. Does that mean we can control the federal government when they're out of control? Yes, it does. This time, it's the cities and the states. They're out of control, and President Trump has the authority to restore law and order, folks. Let's get busy. Get a hold of your sheriff. Ask them what they're doing to work with the city to restore order.
We're in a very divided and polarized country right now. Yeah. We have people like Jane Fonda. You got celebrities getting up there bashing Trump, saying we got to take
There's Sheriff O'Donnell right there. Yes, very good.
Okay, that's Sheriff O'Donnell.
Yeah.
So we have, Jane Fonda, different celebrities coming on the airwaves on social media talking about stand up, fight against. I mean, they're all spewing this rhetoric of like fight against the president, make a stand. What do you think should happen to those type of people? They're kind of inciting violence, right?
Well, they are. And it's, again, just this insanity and stupidity just reaches a new level with these folks. And some of these people just need to know when to shut up. Carl Reiner and his ignorant statement about our democracy. What they really mean, is freedom. And democracy and freedom are not synonymous at all. And they don't even know what they're talking about. So they just embarrass themselves, but they're too stupid to even know to be embarrassed.
Right. But they're going to use these influencers, these social media influencers, are going to use these celebrities, probably getting payments to push this rhetoric because they know they have millions upon millions of followers that are going to listen to these people and
resort. But at the same time, who's funding all this? That's why they need to do a paper trail back to Soros and see 100%. Who's actually funding this and funding Antifa.
Yeah. Correct. I agree with you 1,000%. So here we are now, and I think we're probably coming into it. And I've said this before on my program, and many people have, that, these celestial events, this harvest moon, the solar eclipses, once that happened on October 7th, the whole Israeli war kicked off. They follow these type of things. And we all can see it. We can feel it in the air. We know it's coming. To me, the charge in the air just feels so heavy with tension. You can cut it with a knife. It almost feels like the way it felt with the Mike Tyson fight or something. It's like, here we are. It's getting ready to go down. And so how many cities do you expect to be hit with this? Do you expect just the Democratic hellholes, or do you expect all the cities to suffer the consequences of this?
They're going to want to do something in the Republican-run cities just to say, see, they're just as bad. There's been a little bit of that right now, but the people know, the criminals know they can get away with it in the Democrat areas. So, San Francisco's probably going to be one. San Diego actually has a pretty good sheriff. She's a tough lady, and she has stood up to a lot of this going on in her county. So congratulations to her. But, Texas has a strong governor. And so I don't think the major Democrat cities there are going to try to pull something off. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Miami, New Orleans. Of course, New York is there. And New York doesn't have a sheriff that covers that city. They have a lot of sheriffs that are good out and around New York City. But New York City is not in New York County. And so they don't have a sheriff there. But they have other great sheriffs across the state of New York. And so I would be really looking at those. Kansas City might be another one on the list to be targeted. But there's plenty of cities out there. I think right now the major targets are all run by Democrats. And so they're going to be after them. And Trump's going to go where the low-lying fruit is, and that's where the worst things are happening. And those are all Democrat-run cities. Is it going to spread? Could it? There's plenty of these terrorists and cartels and Antifa to go around the country. And so that really worries me. It scares me. And folks, the sheriffs have got to be active. The sheriffs are the ones that should be filling the gap, not President Trump. The sheriffs should be filling the gap.
So I've been told that
they're not. So President Trump has.
I've heard that a lot of these people that have come here, the immigrants that have come here, a lot of them are going to be activated for chaos. So to start fires in certain buildings, a shooting over here, a shooting over there, light fires in different places, so that the police have to use their resources to go to these incidents, and then they cause another problem, and then they cause another problem, and then you're running out of resources and you can't control it all. And then obviously the military is going to have to come in. But that's what they're going to try to do, is cause so many fires, so many incidences in so many cities. That's why they're all going to be activated. This is why they will be activated at the same time, to drain resources. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you were spot on when you warned people about having gold reserves and food storage. And we have a food storage company on our website, 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗹.org. But folks, be very careful about this. Warn your sheriffs about this. They're going to attack our infrastructure. They're going to attack our water supplies, and they're going to attack the electricity grids. Folks, you could look around in your own state and see how vulnerable the electricity plants are. They have almost no security around them, almost none. So if you really wanted to shut down the country and you want to cause utter chaos, what would you attack? Infrastructure.
Right. And that's what I've heard they're going to do. They're going to cause incidences all over the city to drain the resources and then hit infrastructure.
That's right. And folks, this is the writing's on the wall. And what do you think all these terrorists and cartels are doing here? They didn't come here to play tiddlywinks.
No,
they're going to
they're on a
attack
mission.
That folks, be ready, be prepared. Make sure you and your family have an independent water source, and food and guns and ammo, battery powered, solar powered generators. I have 2 of those. Solar powered lights, whatever you can do there. I don't want to scare any of you, but I do want you to be prepared. Contact your sheriffs. Every one of you, look up in your area, your sheriff, and ask him what he's doing. If you're in near major cities in this country, call your sheriff. Republican or Democrat, call your sheriff.
What about getting deputized? You said that citizens should go and get deputized by the sheriff, correct?
Tell him that you're ready to go. Tell him you're ready to help in any way possible. If he wants to put you on his posse, he should. If the sheriff doesn't have a posse, he should get one. We've always trained our sheriffs to do that, and we're going to send out an email blast suggesting the same thing.
What about somebody who's never used a gun, has no experience in law enforcement, but they want to help?
Fine. There's lots to do. You can help in dispatch. You can help answer phones. You can help with transports. You can help fill sandbags. I hope it doesn't come to that, but it very well might. And so
that shouldn't divert anybody. They should all be able to call their sheriff and say, "Hey, I want to be able to join." Is the sheriff, should he be obligated to bring them on? Is that how it works? Or
no, that's
we're
up
not
to
taking
him.
Anybody right now.
It's up to him, and it's up to her. There's about 20 female sheriffs in America, and it's up to them. I don't care what sex they are. I could care less. But the sheriffs have got to step up. Sheriff O'Donnell in Portland, you have got to step up.
Wow. Let me get to an article real quick. Folks, Netanyahu, Trump's nod to peace puts him in a tough spot. The Israel leader thought he had a plan from the U.S. president that would have represented total victory over Hamas. Suddenly, it looks as though he might not get everything he wants. President Donald Trump has finally spoken out following Hamas's announcement that it had agreed to a peace deal and would release the remaining hostages. Posting on his Truth Social platform, the president declared it was too dangerous to extract the hostages despite the agreement. Based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace deal. Israel must immediately stop the bombing in Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly and come to a peace deal. Now, do you think Benjamin wants this?
It doesn't seem like it. He's not acting like it.
Doesn't act like it, does he?
No. Man, oh man.
So what do you think? I mean, we all kind of know, my audience knows that if an incident does, and I have to be kind of careful here on Fluff too, but there is Hamas, there is these terrorist organizations here in America now operating. Yes. But it seems to me if one of it hits, it'll be blamed on them, wink, wink, by somebody else to push us into a further escalating war. Do you agree with that?
We all know how about red flags. We know that lots of different wars have been started that way, even World War II. To be honest, so yeah, they know how to conduct the subterfuge and the sabotage, and they know how to make it look like somebody else did it, and especially now with all the technology they have, oh my gosh. So the bottom line is, folks, we need to be prepared. We need to get a hold of our sheriffs. We need to support President Trump in what he has to do here. That this has been left to him as an absolute disgrace and outrage, and for the sheriff to be hiding behind their desks and not doing anything about this, this is absurd. What do we want the sheriff to do? Contact the chief of police where this is going on. Los Angeles County Sheriff, contact the chief of police of Los Angeles City.
Is it very compartmentalized? Do they work together, or they don't need to work together?
They should be working together.
But they don't.
But they very rarely do. When I was sheriff, I called all the city police together once a month, and we had a meeting once a month, and we tried to be in the same page. There has to be a relationship there. There has to be cooperation. They are not entities unto themselves. The sheriff has concurrent jurisdiction with every chief of police. She knows it. He knows it. and they need to be working together. And for the chief of police just to take orders from the mayor or from the governor and then stand down and help actually increase the violence instead of stopping it, that's an absolute outrage. That's so disgusting. And it's time for these people to get moving. Sheriff Dart in Chicago, you are in Cook County and you know it. And that city of Chicago is in your county. Let's go, Sheriff Dart. You've done some great things as sheriff. Let's get moving. People calling. And then Sheriff O'Donnell in Multnomah County, call her.
Sheriff, can you disclose to my audience if of any of the intel that you might know of the meeting or the of what happened when the sheriffs met with the feds to talk about the coming events? Can you disclose any of that to my audience?
Well, it was excellent training, and it was excellent leadership in trying to have their cooperation and cooperate with each one of them. First of all, the federal government knows that the sheriff is the 𝗬𝗂𝗍, the chief law enforcement officer in that area. That's also mentioned in my Supreme Court case. We're the 𝗬𝗂𝗍s, okay? And so to have these meetings and have this planning with the sheriffs is excellent leadership. And so a lot of them were asked to go along with Tom Homan and his efforts
really
to deport folks terrorists and cartels and drug dealers and murderers to stay here. Not to mention the sexual exploitation that happens with all this. We know where those 350,000 children went. They went into sex slavery around the world. And this is so outrageous. And some sheriffs have been working that more than any other organization around in our country. We really applaud those sheriffs. But the enemy is from within. And so we've got to be ready and we've got to be prepared. We've got to be working on this. And call your sheriff. Now, will you reach your sheriff? Leave a message with anybody you can get. It doesn't matter if his secretary, a message machine, whatever you can get, leave the message. Please work and because I'm going to be blasting out an email on all of this. So yes, let's do it. Let's get going.
Sheriff, I appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much for joining me. Where do people find you?
Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, CSPOA.org, folks.
CSPOA.org.
It's right there at the bottom on the screen. Folks, we're just about the only organization in the entire country that's working with law enforcement to do the right thing. And in fact, I can't think of another one right now. We're about the only one.
That's pretty pathetic.
I know it is. So join us, become a member. You can be a member. It doesn't matter who you are. CSPOA.org. We have CSPOA posse, and we train you to work with your sheriff to get on his posse and how to work with him. But folks, we need donations. We need your help, and we need your involvement. You've got to be involved in the process.
Sheriff, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I'll keep in contact with you, and I'm sure I'll be bringing you back on pretty soon.
Let's do it. Thank you, brother.
All right, Sheriff. God bless you. Thank you. All right, folks, let's get to some more articles here. So, I mean, that should wake all of you up right there. You heard it from Sheriff Mack himself. We are in it, folks. It's coming. They've been briefed on this stuff. I don't know what else I can do as a podcaster to wake people up and say, okay, you know what time it is. You know where we're at right now. So body slamming, tear gas, and pepper balls. Viral videos show ICE using extreme force. So how do you battle mainstream media and lawfare? That's what we're up against here, folks. Our backs are against the wall. How do you battle mainstream media and lawfare? Because every article I read is about tearing down Donald Trump. The military's bad. They're taking over. You're now going to have social media influencers and podcasters coming out talking against Trump. They're going to go full speed ahead. They're putting the pedal to the metal, folks. Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, and Gregory Bovina, a Border Patrol Secretary-Chief, were seen at an ICE facility in suburban Chicago on Friday, where law enforcement has been cracking down on protesters. In recent weeks, the Broadview facility has become the site of escalations by federal agents against protesters and journalists. See how they word that? Against the protesters and journalists. Wow. This is a public enemy number one right here, folks, is what I'm reading right here. Videos of agents deploying tear gas, pepper balls, and roughly throwing protesters to the ground have gone viral amidst the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. But what were they doing? Why did they have to use those means? Why did they have to use those measures? What were the protesters doing? See what they leave out right here? Folks, it's gonna get messy. That's all I can say. Justice Department is now launching an investigation into the Portland police. And folks, we're not going to do the gift card giveaway today. Sorry about that. We've gone too far into the podcast without announcing a winner. So I'm going to just wrap this up. I got to get to the hospital to see my dad. So Justice Department investigation into Portland police. The Department of Justice, DOJ, is investigating the Portland Police Department in Oregon days after conservative influencer was arrested amid a federal crime crackdown in the city. So they don't arrest Antifa. No. They don't arrest the protesters. They arrest a conservative podcaster influencer. Wow. Harmeet Dillon, the DOJ's assistant attorney general for civil rights, signed, sealed, delivered a letter to Portland police about the investigation on Friday, according to a post from her X account. In a separate post, Dillon said she spoke with Nick Sorter, the influencer who was arrested outside an Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility, ICE, Thursday. She also said she talked to Attorney General Pam Bondi about what happened in Portland and the urgent need for a federal civil rights investigation over there. Portland is already under a failed consent decree for its failed police practices, Dillon said. It has been for over a decade now. Sorter was among 3 people arrested outside an ICE facility on Thursday. He was released on his own recognizance, according to the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. Following the news from the DOJ, he shared a copy of Dillon's letter on X. This is unbelievable, folks. So now they're going after influencers, conservative podcasters, influencers that are out there recording the mayhem. The police are being told, get them. Go after them. Don't let them see what's really going on here. Do not let the public see. They control the mainstream media. And now the only means to win is to start arresting influencers and podcasters that are out there doing the real reporting, the real journalists. Arrest them. Get them. Don't let anyone see what is really going on here. Smoke and burning flesh. I mean, can you not see it, folks? Can you just not see? It's so easy to see. Everything they're doing, it's just so easy to see. Trump interrupts SNL. So now they're saying, oh, Trump's responsible for the downfall of SNL. He's going to stop SNL because he took Jimmy Kimmel down, the whole thing. Here we go with this. They had Bad Bunny on SNL. I don't know if you guys saw this. Trump interrupts SNL cold open to threaten show not to do anything too mean or he'll have FCC attack. Daddy's watching is what they said here. Oh, boy. Colin just portrayed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth during the first cold open of Saturday Night Live's 51st season, lamenting that our military is gay as hell, but also mourning that it's also never been fatter. This mirrored his live meeting between Hegseth and the military's top general this week. Jost's version got rid of the subtext, demanding that the army be filled with hot, shredded, hairless men who are definitely not gay. So they're making fun of Hegseth, the whole thing. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But I don't know if you all saw Bad Bunny that when he got up there saying that America now needs to learn how to speak Spanish. Got to learn the language. Do you see how they're doing this? Do you see how they're manipulating the minds, molding the minds of the weak? I call them the weak. The spiritually weak, the mentally weak, malleable little minds they play with. Minds of a little gnat, controlled. And if you're not awake to this, you do fall for it. You understand this. If you're not awake to how they do these methods, how they control the minds over the TV set. They bring people like Bad Bunny on to talk about everybody needs to learn Spanish. Hey, there's nothing wrong with learning Spanish, but you don't need to learn Spanish to live in America. You don't. All right, folks, let's get to what the fuck news. In what the fuck news, I had to bring this on because I thought this was pretty cool because it's always been my dream, or like I've always thought, man, wouldn't that be so cool to find treasure? To find a lost treasure. Long lost treasure chest worth $1 million that sunk on Spanish galleon 300 years ago is finally unearthed and hauled up from the depths of the ocean. This is cool. This is really cool. A treasure chest worth about $1 million has finally been retrieved 300 years after it sank on a Spanish ship. More than 1,000 glistening silver and gold coins were unearthed by a team of divers just off the coast of Florida. The jewels were uncovered in a stretch of sea aptly called the Treasure Coast and are understood to date back to 1715. How cool is that? How cool is that? It is believed they were minted in Bolivia, Mexico, and Peru, and were on their way to Spain on a fleet of ships, also carrying a number of jewels. So see, that's where the pirates come in. So the pirates would attack these type of ships and steal their treasure. How cool is that, right? So that's probably what happened here. Oh, but they're saying, no, that's not what happened here. But when a hurricane struck, the precious, how do they know that? How do they know it's because of a hurricane? When a hurricane struck, the precious cargo was tipped overboard, sinking to the depths of the ocean, where it remained ever since. Historians have revealed in the golden discovery as date and mint marks remain visible on some of the coins. They reckon as much as 400 million worth of gold, silver, and jewels were lost in the storm. How do they know pirates didn't take it? How do they know it's a hurricane? I'm just asking the questions. This makes it one of the greatest maritime tragedies that the Americas reported said. Sal Guttuso from Queen Jewels, the firm that found the treasure, said the discovery is not only about the treasure itself, but the stories it tells. Each coin is a piece of history, a tangible link to the people who lived, worked, and sailed during the golden age of the Spanish Empire. Finding 1,000 of them in a single recovery is both rare and extraordinary. The company made the discovery after hours combing the sea floor with specialized equipment. Just hours? Damn. That's not that long, if you ask me. I would love to go treasure hunting. I heard there's a lot of treasure here in New Mexico, in the New Mexico mountains. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Victoria's Peak, but I had a friend, Alex, who was covering that. They did an Unsolved Mysteries story on it. But apparently they found not billions, but could be trillions of dollars worth of gold outside of Truth or Consequences in New Mexico, in the mountains right there, where they uncovered all this gold from Spain. They were hiding Mayans. There was Spanish gold, Mayan gold, all kinds of gold in this mountain that was being stored there. And some rancher fell upon it, I think as he slipped off a cliff or something like that. His foot went into a hole. He looked down the hole. This was like in the 1800s, and saw a ladder and in this hole, and went down there and discovered all these rooms of gold. He took some of the gold and hid the myth is, or the urban myth, or the story goes that he hid the gold all over New Mexico, all over in that area around Truth or Consequences, because he owned land out there. Well, the government came in, confiscated the gold in the mountain and retracted it and took it all out. So pretty crazy. I mean, pretty crazy stories. There's a lot of stories like that here in the New Mexico area. New Mexico is a really majestic, beautiful place. And there's a lot of stories like that of gold. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to New Mexico, but White Sands, New Mexico, like they have all kind of mammoth bones and saber-toothed tiger bones. I mean, it's just an incredible area. So, and a lot of interesting gold stories out here in the mountains of New Mexico. So I love being out here. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I love the quietness, the peacefulness. Anyway, Alex, you there?
Hey, Nino.
Little different what the fuck news today, kind of positive, but
yeah, man, it ignites that childlike sense of wonder and adventure in you.
I want to go buy a
treasure.
gold detector or a metal detector, and I guess you could set it to gold, right? You could like set the settings.
I think they have them. Yeah, I think so. That
Dude,
can determine the density, probably. Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to like make that my hobby and go out there and start like looking for gold.
Yeah.
I mean, what the worst? You pick up a ring or a coin here and there. I mean, you can find some really cool stuff doing that. I would love to do that. I might go buy a metal detector and just like that might be my new hobby. Seriously, just get my mind off shit.
Yeah, I've seen some dudes, they do it at the beach, right? And I've seen some guys like totally save the day for someone who was like they lost their engagement ring or their wedding ring.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we can't find it. See a guy with a metal detector, he's like, oh, I got you. It takes him 2 seconds. Boom, there it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my dad was at the beach and we were in Greece when I was a kid, and he was just I remember I watched him do it. I saw him lay down on the beach and run his hands through the sand, and he goes like this, and he picked up a gold necklace. And he still wears it to this day.
Wow.
It has a big medallion on it of the Mother or Virgin Mary. It's just crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so he still wears that to this very day. So pretty neat stuff. And we had a decent crowd today. It's all right.
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah.
So
man, Sheriff Mack was really over the target, especially at the end there when he was getting some interference. You really notice when the interference
Dude,
comes in. So.
God, man, it just sucks, man. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
But
all right, folks, we're out of here. Alex, stay with me for a second. All right, folks, I'm out of here. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting, folks,